Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us today for this live stream event. My name is Alexia, and I am the program manager of the Microsoft Reactor Toronto. I will be sharing with you. Oh my God. I will be sharing session resources with you in the chat. But before we begin, I'd like to quickly review two items, our code of conduct and event guidelines. First, please take a moment to review our code of conduct. Microsoft Reactor seeks to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. And secondly, our event guidelines. The session is being recorded and will be available on demand through the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel in about 24 to 48 hours. I will be sharing the link in the chat for our channel. And if you have not been on a live stream to YouTube before, please note that you must create an account on YouTube in order to have access and or interact in the chat. You can set that up now. And if you're unable to use the chat but have questions, feel free to reach out to us through social media or on our website. Which brings us to today's session. Today is the third session of the Startup Success Blueprint series. I'm going to bring in our speaker here for today, Luca. Hey, Luca, welcome back.
Hi, Alexia. Nice to see all of you again.
Yeah, thank you for hosting this series with us again. We're very excited for this session and for what's coming next. So take it away.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here again. I mean, last week, unfortunately, we didn't do the third episode we were supposed to do, which is postponed to the next week. So don't forget, this is not the last episode we're going to talk about. Next week is the actual last episode. Hi everyone. For people that are new, my name is Luca. I'm the co-founder and CEO of doTERRA Health, and I came across this idea to start this workshop. I talked with Alexia, and she made it happen with through Microsoft Reactor. The workshop is called Startup Success Blueprint, and the thing is, like, how did it, even the idea come from, like, to create this series of episodes of workshops, call it whatever you want. I was talking to my one of my mentors and one of my early investors, who is also a professor at University of Toronto. He is at Rotman at the business school, and he teaches entrepreneurship. He teaches economics, and we discussed a lot about what makes a startup successful, basically. What and how can we go beyond just like the usual terms that we hear, like product market fit, that we're gonna mention also today. But what is the rule book? What is the handbook to create an actual startup? This is the question that I asked him, and he couldn't answer because there is no rule book, handbook, or anything similar to startups. Startups can change. Startups can are so complex, and that's why I said, you know what? Why cannot we try to go as far or as near as we can to the truth of creating the perfect startup. Today we will talk about how to become the leader of your industry, how to grow your startup. So this is more for an advanced type of audience, but this doesn't mean that also the early stage that don't even maybe even have an idea yet cannot come here. If you joined us before, you would know that is we started from the idea phase, and then we worked to last time we talked about the MVP, and today we're going more into the details of a good company, or how the startup is actually grow and become successful. So before we start everything, please let us know, where are you joining us from today. I know I'm personally from Toronto, originally from Albania, but I came here in Canada 5 years ago, and today I'm joining from Toronto, from this one of the most important cities in North America. So let's see where you guys are from today. Vancouver. Nice, Sean. I'm leaving sometime. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Hola, hola, Jorge. I have a lot of friends that are from Buenos Aires. Seattle, very nice. Seattle, Christine, very nice. Berlin, Germany. My co-founder was he lived a lot of times in Germany. He lived in Karlsruhe, Germany, actually. And I've never been to Berlin. Beautiful city, I've heard. Let's give one more minute for other people. Toronto, nice. New York, cool. Very nice, cool. So we have a lot of different cities. I really like cultures that I really like to. I tend to see where is everyone from, so we can also create a uh, very good relationship. Greetings from Berlin, German. A lot of people from Berlin. I see the startup community there. It's pretty improved and pretty developed. Okay, let's start from the series then. So the agenda for today it will be a self-introduction of me, a little bit about the Microsoft for startups, a recap of what we did before, and we'll talk mainly about business models because business models will I'll explain a little bit more. Uh, we have someone from Maryland, Maryland, USA. Yeah, keep text or keep commenting where you guys are calling from today because I'll mention your names and also the cities that you're from. But business models are very important because they are the most. So you as a CEO, you don't have a lot of jobs, but they are very complex jobs. And when I say CEO in a startup scene, you don't have usually a lot of roles. But if you decide to do the business things, the business side of the things of a startup, actually the three most important things, especially in the beginning, are fundraising, selling just basically to customers, and business model, creating a very solid, scalable business model. So we'll talk a lot about that. We'll talk about market strategy, growth strategy, market penetration, a little bit about market size too. And in the end, I have a surprise for you. So I want you to get to be very engaged to this in this session because we'll have a lot of exercises and some homeworks for you actually to send me by email. So who am I? My name is Luca, as I said. I am the CEO and co-founder of Docere Health. At Docere Health, what we're doing is we are creating the next generation of electronic health record systems by creating a simple, very accessible dashboard that is backed or empowered by a large language model that we are creating from start. So I'm a big fan of AI in healthcare. I did actually an episode that I would suggest you to watch it about AI in healthcare, and I talked not only about digital health but also about the biotech and all the beautiful uh, technologies that are being created in the whole health system, especially in North America. So beside that, I've won a lot of different awards. One of them being the Young Entrepreneur of the Year here in Canada in 2023. I won the first place in a Microsoft and over a pitch competition as the best startup, and a lot more than that. Throughout my years, I've pitched millions of times for startup. I've sold to a lot of clinics, to a lot of clinicians. So I know the ins and outs, and I know how hard it is to create an actual established organization, more than just a startup, but an actual organization, an actual movement. Before we start more of the detail of the content, I really would want to tell a story about how we got introduced to the Founders Hub because it's very interesting. We were working before with another the cloud to train our model, to train our machine learning, and that cloud was taking us a lot of money, to be honest. Like we're paying a lot of money to train that, and that was through my personal savings. We didn't fundraise yet, and the money was going. We didn't have a lot of runway basically, so the money was going out very soon. So I came across. I was one of the events that Reactor organized, and I came across this thing that was called the Founders Hub. And apparently, Founders Hub gives a lot of good free credits especially on their cloud Azure, but especially right now with the Azure AI, which is insane. We're trying it. We're working with my company, Docera, but also other credits like OpenAI credits and LinkedIn and GitHub. So a lot of free resources which you can access, but not only that, but even access to a lot of good professionals and a lot of good technical professionals, especially that are part of the Microsoft for Startups team. So I really would suggest you to try it out if you have a startup or if you want to build a startup, because it would make your costs go down a lot, and it will help you a lot to figure out that product market fit, or even before founder market fit, and everything, like before you even have a product. So try it out. It's free. You have to apply, and you have to take some steps before you work on it. But I'm pretty sure it's not hard at all for anyone that has a startup to, or has a project that he's working on, to try it out. Cool. So let me do a quick recap of what we talked before. In the first episode, we talked about ideas, where ideas come from, and I mentioned this quote by Paul Graham that says, "When you have an idea for a startup, ask yourself, who wants this right now? Who wants this so much that they will use it even when it's a crappy version, one made by a two-person startup they've never heard of? If you can't answer that, the idea is probably bad." So this is a very extreme thinking from PG, who is one of the founders of Y Combinator in Silicon Valley, but it's true. It's true because when you come across ideas, or what to focus on to build something, uh, as René Descartes, the philosopher, French philosopher, says, ideas come from the soul, not from the brain, right? It has to be a very beautiful meaning behind. It doesn't have to, but like usually it's better if it is. But it that beautiful meaning behind what you're working on, because it will make you not give up, and it'll help you on finding what PG is saying, on finding the right solution to this big problem that you're thinking about. So in the beginning, in the early stages, you have to really get obsessed with the problem and understand everything that problem has, and really understand your customers, your customer segment, your customer market, because that will help you a lot with the solution. And when you understand very well the problem and the customer market, no matter the solution and no matter how bad it will be, if you put it in the right place, it will be successful. People will love it. And we tried it ourselves too, and it worked. After that, we talked about MVPs, right? How to build the minimum viable product, like a very low functionality platform, web app, whatever you want to call it, that gives the idea of the full potential of your solution. And this can be done by MVPs are from all kinds. They can be just like a Google form. I've seen. I mentioned this example last time. This was the second episode. One of my friends raised money just by Google form, where he sent to 10 people, and from those 10 people, three of them signed up to this platform, even though he didn't have nothing yet. So they wanted to pay basically. He closed three people, three big people, because he sold to big companies, more like a B2B SaaS business model or industry. And he sold three people just with a Google form, and he fundraised because he used the three people to leverage it, right? So sometimes MVPs are a little bit, the idea of an MVP that you have to be perfect and everything like that is a little bit overrated. You have to focus on keeping up with changes in customer demand. As soon as you build the first version of the MVP, prioritize features, iterate regularly. Metrics and analytics are very important, and this will be important for all of you, all of the lifetime of your startup. Doing things that don't scale in the beginning. So that guy's example, when you have three first customers, focus on them and understand their problems very well, so that you can build a very good solution for all, or for most of their problems. Then after that comes scaling, and then that's where you get a lot of money, and that's where you actually grow your startup. And that's what we're talking about today a little bit. We'll talk about becoming the leader in your industry, becoming the Maverick. again, this is more like the difference between the MVP, proof of concept, and prototype. Now, this episode will talk about, as let's say you have a prototype and actually you have more than prototype, but you launched your product. Now, how do you grow that market cap? How do you become the leader, right? So, uh, what are Maverick? What is a Maverick? So the term Maverick in business comes from a lawyer in Texas. We're talking like uh, 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. Samuel Maverick. So it was his last name, and he didn't want to breed his cattle, which was unheard of in Texas at the time. That's why we created this term for people that are rebellious, for startups that are rebellious, startups, companies, businesses, individuals that break the rules and or bend the rules to be more correct, and and make it better, create something better, create new innovation, create new business models. So people that don't listen, or companies that don't listen to the status quo. This is the concept of a maverick, right? As I got the idea of this episode when I was reading Start With Why from Simon Sinek. I really suggest to read you guys to read this book because it's amazing. Uh, and and we have someone like right now listening from India. I just saw the comment. Amazing, welcome. So Start With Why. It's an unbelievable book that shows you from the beginning and until the end of the lifetime of a startup, of a project, of a company, how to touch the philosopher's stone. So I don't know if you have watched Harry Potter. That's the first, I think, is the first movie's title. Philosopher's stone. It means you become immortal. You become an immortal person, individual. In this case, how do you become an immortal startup? So you'll live forever. Your legacy will live forever. And this is what Simon Sinek explains very well. It explains that one of the things that he says is that you have to become a maverick. You have to change something. You have to bend the rules somehow. And you should never be scared of challenging the status quo. So this is always uh, the 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 thing with a lot of startups and a lot of companies. They become very big at this time when you have a prototype, when you have some money, you fundraised a little bit, you have some sales, you launch maybe your prototype and people love it, you become satisfied, and that's the moment where you lose because you become an established company. I know that we are talking about how to become an established company in your industry, but the thing is that you can never become a comfortable established company, especially when you're a startup. And startups range, you know this, startups range from zero money to $1 billion, right? It doesn't matter that you if you have like I don't know 50 to 100 employees and you raised $1 billion, you still are not called a startup. You're still a startup because you don't have a lot of time in the industry. Someone can come up and can disrupt you, and you are down immediately, and you die as a company, right? So you have to really focus on always starting with why. Why are you doing this? Why is this so important, right? And the best way that Simon explained this was through the golden circle, a concept that he said it's very important, and it should start since the ideation actually of a project, of a company, of a startup, but even whatever you do in your life, it should start with a golden circle. I know that this deck or this episode today, it will be a little bit more philosophical and more from a founder CEO's point of view. But as we saw even last time, we and that's how I tend to do my presentations. The first presentation will be philosophical, the second one a little bit more practical. This is philosophical. The next one, the next week, which will be amazing, one of the best presentations that I ever did and I'll ever do. It's more practical, and it will show you actual rules or actual handbook, playbook that you have to listen or you have to follow. But here I really want to touch a little bit your emotions and your thinking, because thinking is very important. And is exactly going back to Simon Sinek. This is exactly the point that he says. A lot of companies on Earth, talk about what every organization on the planet knows what they do. And what do you do? I sell EHR systems. I sell to the doctors. How do you do it? uh, Again, in my opinion, most of organizations too uh, know how they do it, right? How you do it. We basically go door to door to the clinics, and we sell it to them. And the way that we're reinventing how we are reinventing the EHR system is by inputting AI and blah blah blah. So I'm taking my example of my company in this case. Why you do it is something that not a lot of startups can answer and will never answer. Why do I do it? Because my mom burned out at 45 years old and retired. See, the third answer was the most beautiful, emotional, and meaningful answer of all of them. And I can expand that answer. I can say that why I did it, except that I really want to help uh, more physicians like my mom to not burn out and combat burnout, especially here in Canada. So you have a meaning behind it, and people love that. Uh, Investors love that, customers love that, but also your employees love that because you again the team is it's one of the we'll talk about it after. It's one of the pillars that will create the philosopher that it's going to make your company touch the philosopher's stone very easily. If you have a good team that believes in you and believes in the mission and the why of the company, you will go far. So yeah, that's what's about the golden circle. And now uh, I did this I did this fellowship called Ripple X Fellowship, which I'm also wearing the hat today from. It was launched by Dom. Shout out to Dom if he's going to listen to this. They are a venture VC firm here in Toronto, and by the way, they've opened their applications for funding. So if you are a startup, you can apply, and they will most probably see and they will do the due diligence on your startup. But they're based in Toronto. They're based in Canada, but I think they invest in all North America. So during this fellowship, I one of the first lessons that we learned was actually this amazing lesson, which how each outcome is a different business. So where do you focus as a startup? Do you want to build a feature, which is called a 30 million startup? So basically use someone else's platform to get users slash revenue. And that was one Bitstrips, which was basically working with Snapchat. And I think they got bought after and they used like the emoji, the Bitmoji that we have today at Snapchat. Uh, you want to be a business, which is a $300 million project, which means you have a set of features as a standalone company. And this is Relate IQ is an amazing, perfect example of that. Or you want to be a platform, $3 billion company. You are the platform others make money on, and that can be Shopify, right? Platform technologies, platform economy. It's a term in economics which is very important, and they have a lot of big companies which are like the platform technologies, and this how they're so powerful when they create this platform startup that will make you make you not only powerful uh, with economically, but also maybe politically and every stuff like that. So that's pretty much like the philosophy behind the platform economy. So the thing is that uh, you have to decide in the beginning before we even talk about becoming a maverick or becoming a leader in your industry. You have to decide what kind of startup are you building. Are you building a tool? Are you building a business, which is pretty good, or are you building a platform, right? And you have uh, different ways of going to each of these outcomes. Uh, to be a feature, to be a feature startup, you're going in a very highly competitive and very small market, which is very risky, but also it might be it might be much better because it doesn't need a lot of technical uh, complexity behind it, right? You have to really understand a customer segment inside the platform which you are trying to integrate, understand their problems, solve their problems, go launch it very quickly and understand what their problems are and fix these problems basically. And then after you fix those problems and you launch quickly, then the goal is the goal is to go and sell it to the platform that you are integrated with. In this case, Snapchat. I see this thing a lot in digital health startups. They usually try or tend they usually try or tend to uh, you know give a lot of their experience and their technical experience to EHR platforms. So they integrate with EHR systems, and they hope they can get sold to EHR systems like Epic, Meditech, PC Suite, Cedrix, etc., etc. So like this is kind of like the perfect one of the perfect examples that I've seen there. Businesses, like, in order to be a business, it's different, right? You don't only need to get a segment or a portion of the customers from with like already established company. You should not create just a tool, but you should create a set of tools that will attract a lot of customers and will fix different problems within the business. And this is a little bit harder to achieve, of course. It has less competition, makes sense, but you have to have a very unique advantage. You have to have a very unique advantage that shows you that you can build this and you can get customers by disrupting some of the other businesses, and getting their customers basically and putting it to your startup. And the last one, which is the biggest one, we hear about them all the time, the most successful startups, it's the platform technology. The platform technology is the technology that not only has sets of features that you're building and you have already a lot of customers, but also you're helping your customers make money within your platform. This is one of the best distinctions between platform and business and feature startups or companies. So I'm giving you 5 minutes. Right now, it's in my time is 12:28. We'll get back together at 12:32. And if you have any questions, please comment below. But find me one example of a 30 million, 300 million, or a 3 billion startup. If you cannot find any, after 5 minutes, I'll show you some good examples of those. So yeah, please, the 3 billion shouldn't be a problem. It's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of big companies are the $3 billion companies, right? So it shouldn't be a problem there. Focus more on the business, or not focus, but like try to find the business and the feature platforms. Yes, Sean. Right now, put it in the chat. You have around 2 3 minutes. You can just find one. You don't have to find like all three of them. Like just one, and then we're gonna decide. We're gonna discuss all of those. I'm seeing some interesting ones actually. Okay, one more minute. Cool. Now let's start. Let's start. Let's see your answers. Zalando. That's a good that's a good company. Actually, that was interesting. I thought a lot of you guys would say like I don't know like Airbnb. I don't know, Facebook, Instagram. But this is a good one. This is something that you don't think about it immediately, but it's a $3 billion platform because it helps other people make money, right? So it had like if I'm not mistaken, it's a shoe platform, right? It's shoe selling platform or clothes selling platform, something like that, right? And it's it's interesting how they build this system, even though in a very uh, e-commerce usually what I've seen I don't want to waste too much time, but like e-commerce is one of the industries which has the most businesses or features. They don't usually create platforms because you have a lot of competition, like Shopify, for example, or eBay, right? Like you have a lot of competition. But Zalando, it's very good business that created that. Giphy, I don't remember. Huh. I mean, I'm not pretty sure with that. Uh, Let me just remember what Giphy is. The thing is that Giphy, it's not. The thing is that Giphy, it started as a feature because it was by the emoji company, right? It was started as a tool. The thing is that it created a good customer base to be called a feature. So this is a very good example. It's a border between a feature and a business, right? Like this is like it's a business because maybe it created a lot of demand and a lot of big customers, but it's a feature because again it's inside another company and it worked inside a tool of the company. Very good, Peter. Thank you for your for example. And Dropbox is a business. It's totally a business because they have a lot of features and they are a standalone company. They don't work for another with another company, but they're not a platform because they don't directly help people make money. Sure, someone can assume or can say that hey, they make money through I don't know, like through saving time or saving documents, but it's not directly making money through the platform. Amazing example. Mercado Libre is a later e-commerce platform, Jorge. Mercado Libre, I don't know, Jorge. If so, the thing is, if they help the vendors make money, if they kind of like the similar business model as eBay in a way, or as other like Fashion Nova and stuff like that, or other like e-commerce startups, that would make sense. That makes sense. I don't know. I first time that I hear this company, but I'll check it after, and then maybe we can chat an email about this. Stripe feature, Figma business, Etsy platform. Etsy is a platform. Etsy help people make money. Figma is a business. Some people can argue that Figma might be also a platform. It's also one of those borderline platform business kind of style. So I believe that will be that, but I still believe it's still in the business $300 billion, at least in the beginning when they conceptualized it, they wanted to create a business. And Stripe a feature. I The thing is that Stripe became so big, Vasily, that it turned from a, maybe it started as a feature to be incorporated to be integrated with the other websites, but now it became so big that they don't even care anymore about the other websites, and they created also the open source in their the open source API that they did. So they expanded, right? But in the beginning, I would argue, yes, they started as a feature company. Propertyware business character AI platform. Mike, it's very good. The example is propertyware. It is a business. It has a set of features, and it is actual standalone company. Character AI, it's a platform, helps other startups or have other people make money. Sean asked, would you classify franchise as business or platform? The thing is that franchises are a little bit different business model, and actually we'll talk about it right now. So let me just like continue the presentation, and we'll get back to that after. So we have also cases like this with Instagram co-founders, 13 engineers total, exited within 4 years with a $1 billion exit. It doesn't matter that in order to be a business or a platform or whatever, or you have to be a unicorn with 500 employees. You can just be simple like Instagram, find the problem, focus on the solution. The goal since the beginning was to sell. Basically, they did, and they sold it, right? So it's dependent on what you want as a company, and how good you solve the actual problem and how good you know the problems, right? So yeah, that's one of the perfect examples for that. Fred, who is from ABC, there, like VC firm, he said, when I think about the big wins we've had over the years, they almost all exhibited a combination of a large market, a great product, and a talented founding team. So these are the three pillars for a successful startup. And for a startup that we will become the leader of the market. Going back to the Ripple presentation that I heard, and I really wanted to show it with you guys because it makes sense. So when you talk about market considerations, uh, who are they going after as customers? So that's what the VCs, that's what the salespeople, that's what the customers, but especially VCs in this case. But that's a good exercise also for your startup or also for your project. So who are you going after as customers? So who is the buyer? You have to figure out that. What are the customers spending on solutions to their problems today? You have to figure out that. How many customers are there that can use your product? What is the spending power, the budget capacity they have for new tools? Which markets are your initial targets? Where are they and what are the future ones? Who are the other competitors? And is this solution so much more better than them? And is this a market opportunity over $1 billion? If not, can it get there? Or if it's not going to get there, how are you going to capture the market, right? These are good questions that you should answer yourself. Yes, you should ask yourself. Maybe you're not going to answer all of them. Some of them are very, very complex. But at least the I would say the three first ones you should have a good understanding, especially after the two first episodes that we had, of what are they. Like, how can you answer them? And if you don't still don't have a good understanding of that, please read the mom test, because that will teach you how to ask your potential customers or your potential during your potential buyers during your customer discovery, to ask these specific questions and to get a lot of knowledge from your customers. This is usually the framework for each stage. So the earlier stages, this is from a VC point of view. That's why I used Ripple with this, because for the early stages, from angel to Series A, you have a pre-seed to seed focus, market product, and then you have some early signs of market fit and traction. And when you are in the Series A, this is kind of like the metrics that they use: 100% annual growth and around $1 billion in ARR, annual recurring revenue. During the middle stages, Series B to Series D, you have to have not only a $1 billion in annual recurring revenue, but also repeatable go-to-market strategy to use it in different geographic locations. Strong growth, unit economics are good and can improve, and a clear dominance in markets with the potential to grow more and to win more. A good example of this is Epic. I know very well the industry. So that's how they started. Like this is exactly their journey. And then they went to later stages, pre-IPO, where they have a clear dominance of the entire market, and basically they control everything. They had almost an oligarchy in the EHR systems industry in the hospital. So that's how they did it. They started very small, just the market product. They did the best that they could. They integrated into some hospitals. They made money. They started having sales, and then they just dominated little by little, little by little, little by little, every percentage of the market cap until they became a huge. They have around, I think, 80% of the whole market cap in North America. So take the steps each by again, it can happen like Instagram, where you have just like 13 engineers and you sell it for $1 billion, or even 4 engineers and you sell it for hundreds of millions, right? It can happen, but try to take every step, little, not little, like not little by little. When I say little by little, I don't mean being lazy and don't going fast enough, but I mean like try to understand how the logic behind everything happens, right? So this is kind of like the framework for it. And the goal is to hit that product market fit. How does the product market fit work? You have a good UX, a good feature set, a good value proposition from the product side, and you have an undeserved needs. You found an undeserved needs and good target customer in the market side. They go together, create a symbiosis, and you basically make it happen, and you hit the product market fit. Uh, oh, Mike, sorry, yeah. I'll answer all the questions after, but Mike says you mentioned a book from the last slide. If you can answer the first three questions, what was the book called? The Mom Test. The Mom Test. It's a book that explains about customer discovery. So that was the book. Thank you, Mike, for the question. I'll answer other questions after in the end. The PMF iteration metrics. This is pretty much how if something doesn't happen very well, you have to refine sales messaging, optimize time to the aha moment, like monetizing basically of highest value, refine marketing messaging, and even problem driven product roadmap. So when you design your business model, I talk about business models. They are the best metric, and you have to really focus on business models and revenue model, which is the pricing, right? You have to define your products or services. So what is your product? What is the service that you're working on? Define your target market after that. Do the research on the target market, how they purchase everything. Uh, think of the some business models that could work out there. If you can't find any business model that can aligns with your business or with the platform that you're building, then create one. I know it's weird to say, but a lot of times good startups create new business models and even sometimes create new business industries. So focus on business objectives, focus on a specific target audience, and define the processes. Define everything like how do you go to the customer? How do you go to the bigger industry, or how do you go to the potential of your market size? It's very important to do that too, right? Uh, Document everything, write everything down from the beginning, even if it sucks, do it. Uh, you need a clear, unique value proposition, a market strategy, and of course, adaptability. How adaptable are you in the current industry? You have these are some types of business models: a retailer model, which is the brick and mortar stores; product as a service model. You have the manufacturing model, pretty self-explanatory. The franchise model, which we talked about before with Mike, I think, the Domino or Tim Hortons style. No, it's Sean, not Mike. Sean, and this is one of the most uh, lucrative business models out there, but it's a little bit hard to do it right now in the age of technology. But still, it's one of the most lucrative ones. Affiliated model: business relies on third-party publishers to market and sell its product or services. Uh, Subscription model: Spotify, newspapers, and freelance model. This is something that everybody has to do. Business model canvas. I know it's a little bit minimal, and I know this they do it in school in MBAs and stuff like that, but it's needed. It's needed. Uh, I'll give you the slide after. If you can, I'm leaving it here 30 seconds. Take a screenshot of it. I'll give you the slides for whoever asks for it. But this is the business model canvas. You can find it also in Google. This is an example of a business model canvas when we talk about Uber as a whole, right? Uh, in this case, when we talk about key partners, they have the payment processors, map API providers, key activities, platform development, customer support, marketing. So basically, the passenger driver acquisition. You have the key resources, which is brand, technology, network of drivers, the value propositions, reliable and convenient transport, additional source of income for the drivers, customer relationships, self-service, and customer support. Channels is the Uber app and also Uber website. The channels is basically how do you go to the customers. The customer segments: people in need of transportation, car owners, cost structure, technology platform, marketing, and employees, and revenue streams, percentage per ride. It's a little bit complex. You have to think about it a little bit, but if you actually do it for your stuff, and this is the first homework that I want you guys to do. Do the business model canvas for your startups and send it to me through email, through LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you want, and we'll check it out together. And we'll have a call, 15 minutes, and we'll analyze it. How do you build a brand? We talked about why, start with why, and everything like that. That's actually how you build a brand. When you know your why, when you know why you start your company, and you have a very clear vision of the storytelling behind it, you can actually create an amazing brand like Apple did. And you can always brand can help your drive your startup's reputation and also create a lot of customer loyalty because it's the best form of PR also for you as a founder. So think about brand building because your brand is going to be one of the key metrics that will put your startup into a very good place in order to dominate the market. Build a very amazing brand. I have a lot of frameworks that I can mention. The first one is the brand marketing framework. You can find it on Google. It's very easy. It gives you like some kind of like uh, uh, templates for in order to understand the marketing behind your startup and everything that you need for the marketing portion. Because in the beginning, as a startup founder, you are the marketing person, right? You are going to be all you're going to do all the marketing and focus on that. Now, uh, yeah, Jenny. Yeah, also software as a service. I forgot to mention that before in the business models. That's actually the most lucrative right now, and then comes the franchise. Yeah. So the example that I wanted to give it's actually the Uber Eats. Uber Eats went through made a lot of money for Uber. Even though they are not the first ones, they were the first mover advantage, but they are not the biggest ones. DoorDash is the biggest one, I think. Uber Eats made money for Uber because of how good their business model was, and actually, I think at the time the reason why Uber launched Uber Eats was because they were having some financial problems, and Uber Eats just like saved them from those financial problems. And how they did that was they found out that people they need this service. They saw the problem. They found a solution, and they piloted in very small neighborhood. I don't remember the name of the neighborhood, but in a neighborhood only in Palo Alto in San Francisco. That's it. Did it there, saw it worked, did things at those scale, try it out again in a bigger area. Let's try Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. Amazing. It worked again. It worked again very well. They made money. Then the pilot became bigger, became the whole San Francisco city. Again, same result. It worked, right? It worked. Then what they did is they did whole California. Did it again, same go-to-market strategy, going to the driver, telling, "Hey, do you want to make some extra money? Try Uber Eats." And they marketed. They did it again, again successful, California. That was the foundation that they needed. to go in the whole US after that. And they repeated it with each state, the same go to market strategy and the same thing. Now you might say, how the hell they did it and nobody copied them, right? And DoorDash kind of did that, but the thing is that if you do it the right way, and if you take your time and you understand the problem, understand the solution, and you build a very good go-to-market strategy, and based on that, you build a very good business model, which Uber Eats, to be fair, created. Uber in general created that business model of paying, of getting money from the drivers, but also from the customers, right? That's where you can go to 100 billion, $1 billion, whatever you want, like in revenue, right? Repeating the same go-to-market strategy and the same business model that you did. Or Zoom. Zoom during pandemic created a new whole business model which we never knew before. Give it for free for video calls, and then if you want more business or more people in the video call, you have to pay. Amazing business model, worked out very good, especially in the in, during the pandemic, and and after that died a little bit. They had some problems, but still it created a new business model, which was copied by Microsoft Teams and all the other startup teams. Of course, did it better. Like they made it so much better. But the Zoom was the creator of it, right? Of that concept of business model. They started from nothing, right? And the last example is my company. Like even though we didn't actually do anything crazy yet, like Apple or Amazon, but what we found out was that physicians don't buy products. They hate buying new technology. They hate changing EHRs. So what we did is we went through government. We sold to the cities. Some cities in Canada accepted, and they sent it they gave it to the clinics, to the family physicians. Family physicians didn't have to pay anything, but the cities pay for it. And this was a good strategy that we used that helped us a lot with not failing. A lot of digital health startups fail because they sell to the physicians or they sell to sell to the end user basically. So you really need to understand your market potential. That's why you have to size your market size. You have to understand your market size. In order to understand that is the concept of TAM, SAM, and SOM. Total addressable market, how big is the largest market, serviceable available market, what kind of portion of the market fits you, and serviceable obtainable market, what portion of the market are you able to reach. Also screenshot this slide because it's very important, this slide for you. And then again, early evangelists, who is the first adopter basically? What is the first adopter? You still should put it there into your slide too. This is how the slide looks, our slide. Actually, this is our current slide in the pitch deck of the market. We have a serviceable addressable market, which is again, we have a total addressable market of $5.1 billion, which includes all the doctors that are of all specialties, excluding surgeon, US and Canada, that potentially can use our product at some point. That is the serviceable addressable market, which includes only family doctors in US and Canada, which is our actual target. And serviceable obtainable market is the easiest market that we could get, which is the family doctors in Canada only. I added some more statistic there, like the new doctors that are getting every year. And the way that we did the calculations, it was based on the price that we charge for our products. And that's based on how many doctors there are. We just multiply that, and that's how we get the market size. So that's a way of doing a market size analysis. You have a million other ways, and we can talk about other ways if you know. So yeah, that's pretty much about the market size. How can you do that? Now, scaling your startup, it's hard. I know it's hard. It's one of the hardest things to do because most of the startups plateau after they go up and then they plateau. But you should ideally, after you have completed the validation of your business model and started to earn some revenue, scale and repeat. Do the Uber Eats example. Repeat it in different geographic location, same go-to-market strategy, same business model. Just repeat what you're doing. And then after that, you can also grow your team if you want to. If you want to keep it lean, you still don't have to. But if you want to grow your team, grow it in the way that makes sense for your company. Grow it with the people that understand your why, understand you as a company. And Apple did this very good. Steve Jobs did this very good by making these employees understand that they are breaking the status quo. That was their why, basically creating something so innovative and something so beautiful that will change everything, change the way that we're living. and break it again, basically breaking the rules. So Steve Jobs is the perfect Maverick if you want to if you're thinking like that. Market penetration, it's very important, though. And how can you get that is basically the number of potential customers that have purchased your company's product instead of a competitor's product or no product at all. So that's how you kind of understand what is your market penetration, what is your market cap in a sense, right? And there are a lot of growth strategies for that. And one of the most best examples that I gave is Apple. They have consistently introduces new versions of their iPhones and add new upgrades or updates on that. And a lot of companies do this after they grow, basically, right? So this is the end of the today. For next time, I really want you to read something. Second homework is reading uh, Aristotle Ethics. So basically, going back this book here, you don't have to read the book; just read some of the concepts. Next time, we're gonna have the amazing finale. We'll talk about pitching, about fundraising, about selling, about growing, about everything practically, and how can you make that happen for your startup. So get prepared for that. Please join us the next episode. I hope this you like this episode a lot. Uh, if you have any questions, please let me know right now. Right now is the time for questions. And also, before I forget, don't forget the two homeworks. The first homework is business model canvas. If you didn't take a screenshot, please ask me by email for it. And the second homework, read a little bit about Aristotle's Art of Persuasion. The Ethics is the book if you want to read the whole book. If you don't want to read the whole book, on Google, just write Art of Persuasion, Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, and you're gonna find it. Thank you so much for listening to me. And again, let's make ideas happen. Now it's time for Q&A. Okay. How can we find how many customers are out there? Search and research online. This is so Murtaza, when you build a market size, for example, for me, I did it online, but it was so self-explanatory because it's just the doctors, right? You can just find on databases how many doctors, in my case, how many doctors are out there that would be potentially my customer market. I'm not saying that they would buy the product or anything, but that's like kind of the maximum that we have and the maximum that we can make on money, right? So researching online is a way. Doing it yourself manually, it's another way, right? Extracting different information from books or different information from people, that also can be a way, right? There are a lot of different ways that you can size your market. You can see other competitors, see how many customers they have, and say, you know what, these are many customers they have. That's potentially we can get all of their customers basically potentially, right? And we can disrupt the whole system. So there are a lot of ways you can do this. Uh, okay, thank you, Berteza. Sean, uh, they can use your product as is your future state. Sean, can you ask the question again? I really don't understand it right now. And also before you ask about the book again, the mom test, mom test, amazing book. Read it. It's about customer discovery, and start with why. Also, that is a good book that I suggested today. We're hearing that, Mike. We're hearing that investors don't like the traditional tabs, SAM slides, etc. They want to see existing market penetration. Can you comment? Comment on this? Is both a good idea? Yes, that's a very good point, actually. See, when we talk about investors don't like anything. Basically, they always going to judge you, are always going to critique you. Generally, not every VC or not every angel investor, but they if you actually build both of those ideas in one slide and understand how you're going to penetrate the market, which potentially, Mike, you can do it through the go-to-market strategy slide. We'll talk about it next time. Please come next time because I'll explain it a little bit more. But the go-to-market strategy slide, you can actually answer all the critiques that the investor can have. So I'm a big fan, and all of my investors when it got investment love the TAM Samsung slide, especially our slide, because it made sense. I'm a big fan of those. Keep that in slide. Explain a little bit more in the go-to-market strategy. Okay, in a very large tab, do you have any advice for how to niche down? niching down. That's why you need the sub portion of it, the serviceable obtainable market. Focus in only one customer target, the early adopters, the early evangelists that could use your product. See how many of them you can actually find and you can actually achieve. And that's where you actually get your serviceable obtainable market. So, for example, if you are working, I don't know, with pharmacies, and your end user is a pharmacist, focus on which one is your early adopter. It can be the women pharmacists, for example, and find how many women pharmacists are out there. How many women pharmacists even can be even more niche down. It can be even women pharmacists, I don't know, in rural areas. See how it gets niche down, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's actually your first go-to-market strategy of how you're gonna get those people to join your startup and to sell to them. Thank you for the question. So, guys, thank you so much. I know you had a lot of questions, but we have to wrap up, unfortunately. Please come to the next episode. It's very important to come to the next one because it's going to be the finale, acquiring your first users. So we'll talk more than just that. We'll repeat everything we said today, and we'll expand a little bit more. If you have any question, please ask me on email, and don't forget the homeworks. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye bye.